different. People, they are dying of hunger. So many problems are there. Demolition drive is going on, and you are seeing it. What Raki Sawant has to say, and what is that showing on, say, Big Boss. They create new kind of reality. You have already seen, and still it is what Raki Sawant has to say. The people are dying of hunger. Let them die. It is their destiny. Because our readers and our viewers, they want to know what's going on in the Big Boss. And Big Boss is a very strange kind of thing. You see, there is no story, there is no storyline, there is no songs, but still the people glue to it because it is human wickedness. One person is conspiring the other, and we enjoy it. So this is one aspect I'm just talking about, and we enjoy that. So many people, they glue to it. Nothing is there. It is just sheer human wickedness. They just newspapers, or I would say the media, especially television, they try play to the hilt. So in that context, if you want to, what the facts are contrary and we tell something different. We know what the concrete facts are, but what we believe, that is our emotional response. We know that will never happen. 15 lakhs will never come to your account, but thousands of people will vote for it. They know it is wrong. So it is in that scenario, if you just look at Saty's writing, you will be surprised how he opposed British. It was known as that he was a stooge of British. So many people, they say like that. But if you go through his writing, then you will realize how forthright he was. And the two or three aspects, one aspect I think I used to tell everywhere because it's a very important topic, Saty's views on blasphemy. He just discussed so many times in his writings. You see, 1864, you are aware of that William Muir's book, Life of Muhammad, published in 4 parts, 1864 to 1868. It published 4 years continuously. Satyed had 2 options. He was very influential. His influence could be ascertained by the fact that Lord Ripon was here. It was unheard of. You see, in 1857, after that, 3 universities came into being. And no vice chancellor, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. No viceroy went there. And it was a small institution, not more than 25 students were there, and he came all the way to inaugurate it. That shows how influential he was. And later on, he became the member of Viceroy Council, Central Legislative Council. So it was the highest post Indian could hold. So he has 2 options. He could have banned the book very easily by pressurizing government, or he would have started vociferous protest against the book. The 2 journals, Tajibul Akhlaq and Aligarh Institute Gazette, what he did, he went all the way to England to write a rejoinder, and he spent 17 months there. So the book was Khutbat Ahmadiyya. So that's why the people, they talk about. This is the one incident that people, they are aware of that Satyed was the first person. He just resorted to rejoinder. किताब का जवाब जो है किताबी है, किताब का जलाना नहीं है. What we are doing, दलील का जवाब दलील है. It is Satyed wrote in so many words. Apart from that, in 1870, this incident, I don't know, not many people, they knew about it or they know about it. That was in 1817, there was a communal riot broke out between Parsis and Muslims. Because the Parsi wrote a book, translated a book from Persian into Urdu. It was a blasphemous book, and the Muslims, they went on the street, and a full-blown communal riot took place, and even the army was called 1870. And Satyed wrote 2 editorials on it. And then he discussed the very concept of blasphemy. The people, they must know. But I never come across such a secular idiom while discussing this blasphemy controversy. He just wrote in one of his editorials that blasphemy, Quranic verses are not very categorical. What to do? Quranic verses are, this is what Satyed was saying, was mute, to speak khamosh. It's not mentioned clearly what to do. And the practice of Prophet was very varying. So many people, they were let off, some of them were punished. Then the Satyed made a very pertinent point. He says when the Islamic State came into being, Islam as a state religion established, then they realized, no, when you are writing again the Islam was a state religion and Khulafai Rashidin were there, then the capital punishment was prescribed. Professor Zafar Mahfuz Nomani know much better than I. So then he said this, at that time, when you write against Islam and you are writing against Prophet, it means you are writing against the state. So it is basically sedition law. The same thing is applicable to Murtid. Murtid की भी यही सजा उन्होंने बताई क्यों दी जाती है. Otherwise Islamic State, Jews and Christians were allowed to live in. But once you are Muslim and you turn apostate, then it means you are against the state. When you write against the state, or you did anything against the state, it means you are writing against the state or doing something against the state. Then the sedition law is there to take care of you. So that's why it was a basic argument, and we live in a country which is not Islamic, isn't it? यहाँ Islam की हुकूमत नहीं, isn't it? So here the blasphemy laws are there or not. So it was the first concept he discussed, I think twice or thrice in his book. It is a wonderful concept. I never have come across no Islamic scholar discuss in that manner. So the truth is, because he was whatever he wrote in either in Legal Institute Gazette or Tehzib al-Akhlaq. So that's why whatever if you want to look at Sir Syed, you just read his original writing. Maqalat Sir Syed, yes, it is there. But since I just worked on it, then I realized so many writings of others, it was included in that. So it's not a authentic one. If you are a student, if you are writing something ordinary, or you are writing something, but if you want to have a first-hand account, then I would suggest that you go and read his original writing that appeared in Aligarh Institute Gazette and Tehzib al-Akhlaq. So this was his basic concept. Then he talked about what was his concept of Watan. It was a very controversial topic. So many people there just talked about his concept of nationalism. I was just looked down upon by so many people. And the Pakistani says something and we say something, Hindu, Muslim, whatever was born in India is India. He is a Hindu. This is what Sir Syed wrote. But Sir Syed wrote not in a very consistent manner. He was a man of contradiction. We look for a person who is very consistent, who just write in the same manner, but it is not. Consistency is not human. It is something which is not. Maybe something is divine is there. Then you are very consistent. Man lives in contradiction. You do everything very meticulously, but your phone is ringing. You are not picking it up. So this is what human life is all about. So the concept of Sir Syed, concept of nation is like that. One place he say Hindu, Muslim, do aankhein, no doubt about it. And he said so many times like that. But some other thing he also uttered. In 1883, he said, before the advent of Prophet, the nation was created on the basis of region or on the basis of language. एक जगह रहने वाले एक कौम, एक ज़बान बोलने वाले कौम. But when the prophet came, then the nation, or you can say the qawm, draws sustenance from kalma, la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. If you say something, it is like that. It is this concept, he just discussed it. You can't deny. So what the point is there? What was the ideal point? Ideal point, I would say, if you go through his writings, then it is the one you will find so many contradictions are there, so many divergent views on nationalism is there. But what he did, that is much more important thing. I just, on the book Professor Prof Shafey was generously referring to, I just discussed that it was one thing to say a thing. But when he was in the saddle, when he was doing something important, he was the member of Basra Council and he was the member of Royal Public Service Commission that was set up in 1984. What he did, he was the member of Education Commission. What he did is equally important. It's not what he wrote is important, but what he did is also equally important. While discussing his concept of journalism, his concept of nationalism, we just forget what he did. When he was a member of Public Service Commission in 1884, he made 2 points. He said that the examination, ICS examination, should be held in Delhi, in India or Calcutta, Delhi or Calcutta. And the second point he made, that the entry age, he moved 2 or 3 bills. One was very famous one, everybody I think sitting here is aware of, that is related to smallpox vaccination bill. It was meant for everyone because at that time it was a epidemic, isn't it? So he just started in Central Province and Northwest Province, he just moved a bill. It's not only meant for Muslims, isn't it? And another bill was the Albert Bill. Albert Bill was moved by the Mr. Albert, who was a non-official member. through which the Indian judges, they got the right to hear this criminal cases. Earlier, only civil cases were heard by the Indian judges. So Anglo-Indians and some Indian members, Sitara Hind, Radha Shiv Prasad and some others, they opposed it, and Satyajit was a member of select committee. He supported it. So Satyajit always tries to empower Indians, and he wrote in my book, and even Iftikhar Alam Khan just quoted so many things. He did wonderful work on Satyajit, 4 or 5 books. That was very new kind of findings you will find in his books. He just narrated how Satyajit opposed British. Yes, he sided with British, no doubt about it. But he also simultaneously opposed British. So his concept of journalism, if you want to tell me what he did, his model of journalism, as you know, has 3 things to fulfill: to educate, to entertain, and to enlighten, to inform, to educate, and to entertain. But Satyajit's model of journalism was basically based on enrichment, info enrichment model. He just propagated, and he made a kind of difference between views and news. Nowadays it is not. Now if you just go through Times of India or some other newspaper, you will find now again it was just we stick to objectivity and fairness. Now they no longer stick to objectivity. They are very I would say the Indian media, especially TV and newspaper, they have become value judgmental. They just everywhere just make it is right or wrong. So they no longer stick to objectivity and fairness. Fairness means the person who certainly is more than fairness cream we look for. Fairness means when you mean the person who is being criticized must also be given a chance to join. So they no longer say like that. One-sided view, and only occasionally they refer to that. But if you go through Satyajit's writing, especially that appeared in earlier, you see Satyajit said that people say he started 2 newspapers. That was 2 periodicals, that was Aligarh Institute Gazette and Sazirullah. It is true, but it is equally not true. In 1860, he started another periodical that was known as Land Movements of India, Risala Khair Khan in Musalman Hind. The people say it is a book, but it contains the same name, and after 6 months it published. So it was, for me, it looks like it was single. It's what not single book is always on single topic. It was not there. So yes, 1860 just started, and the other day I was discussing his journalism is very, very important as far as a student of history. So many students of history, they are here. You see, the other day I was discussing, and Professor Shafey was there, and he just asked me not to say something about Hali. Yes, Hali no doubt is a very towering personality. We are nowhere, even no iota of equal to him, isn't it? So, but still, the one argument I would say that by referring to by seeing the pages of Aligarh, that landholders of India, I came to know exact ancestry. Satyajit's ancestry, highly described, belonged to the Satyajit's ancestor came in the time of Shah Jahan. This is what Hali wrote. And Colonel Graham, whose book was published in 1885, he said, no, his ancestor came from Iraq in the time of Aurangzeb. But what Satyajit wrote in his journal, in the first volume he discussed about people who just sided with British in 1857. Then he referred to his own family. The first line says, "मेरे अजदाद अकबर के ज़माने में आए थे, जलालुद्दीन अकबर के ज़माने में आए थे." So if you just go through his writing, then you will come across so many things. The correct name of his father, name of his family members, when he started employment, these all details are not properly or accurately mentioned by the biographers. If you go through his writings, especially appeared in journals that I am referring to, then you will realize, then you will get the authentic information. Another misnomer about his association with Sayyidul Akbar. The people say in 1833, in 1838, Hali says his elder brother Sayyid Muhammad Khan started a akhbar that was known as Sayyidul Akbar because he loved his brother very much. That's why he just named after him. So it is. Sayyid is a family name, isn't it? Had it been Ahmedul Akbar, his argument we would have accepted it. But he started. So in 1838, when I was just doing my work, then I went to National Archives. I just referred to Director of Public Instruction. That right now it is known as the Staff Newspaper. Then I realized in 1838, Kempson was the DPI. No mention of this journal was there. In 1838, 1839, 1840, no mention. All the newspapers published from Delhi are there. दिल्ली उर्दू अखबार की 35 कापियां छपती, सादिकुल अखबार 70 कॉपी छपती. ये सब is all there. First time it was mentioned in 1841 when the Syed was posted in Fatehpur, isn't it? Hadgaon. That was like that. So what the point I was just making is his you can say the journals are really mines of information, isn't it? So many pieces of information, very vital information are there if you want to have it. So nowadays, if you just refer to Sir Syed, he just ornate language and florid language was order of the day. Even Sir Syed used it. He wrote Asaru